the Kendrick Lamar and Drake beef. While many rappers came out and showed their support for Kendrick during this feud for the ages, one MC that continued to take a clear stance against him that you would be surprised to see if you didn't know anything about their past was none other than Lupe Fiasco. And from when J. Cole apologized to Kendrick Lamar all the way back when 7 Minute Drill released, and Lupe was thrown onto a list alongside Cole of rappers who apologized to Kendrick after butting heads with him and came out to publicly say that he hasn't just never went back on his attacks regarding Kendrick's lyrical ability, but that he fears no other rapper, period. And now beyond just this, Lupe continued to poke Kendrick while he was in the musical feud that the entire world was watching, as he went as far to say that Drake is a better rapper than him, and while if this came from anybody else, these claims would just be thrown under the rug and never thought about again, because a wordsmith of Lupe's stature is saying this. While nobody's gonna buy into this narrative that the guy who uses ghostwriters and still manages to come up with bars like this is at all better than the guy who made this. What Lupe's constant dismissal of Kendrick Lamar tells us is that there is some serious animosity between these two, and while Lupe Fiasco is definitely the hater in this situation, when we look at the trajectory of his career, we really can't be surprised. Just like Kendrick, Lupe emerged into a rap game at a time where lyricism was being valued less, and he was able to be a breath of fresh air into the genre.
For sure, the trajectory of Lupe Fiasco was actually astronomical. He was supposed to be, actually he could have been Kendrick before Kendrick. But most of his rap beefs, like, just people didn't pick his side, and he had more of like the skater vibe to him. You get what I'm saying? Where Kendrick has more of the streets with him. You get what I'm saying? He has more of that Nas crowd, where it's highly intelligent, but it's also like it's a lot of highly intelligent guys right here on the streets. You get what I'm saying? And they rock with Kendrick. And Lupe, I think, seeing that, I can see where the animosity would come from. I can see it. But once again, it's your boy, What's Up, G? Don't forget to like. We're on the road to 2,200 right now. We're really on the road to 10K. You can help me get there, but let's finish this video.
Showed that one of rap's most sacred elements can still thrive within the modern musical landscape at the time, and with his first 2 albums in Food and Liquor and The Cool not just being critical successes that are considered some of the best of their time, but also projects that were smash hits commercially. When we look back now, it seemed like Lupe was supposed to hold the mantle that Kendrick Lamar ended up taking, but as his career played out and he faced horrible issues with his label and was never able to get that same commercial pull after all the drama he faced, he was never able to cement himself as the long-lasting lyrical and commercial force that he once was destined to be, despite how great some of his later projects have been, and as all of this slipped out of his hands. Kendrick was the guy who caught this mantle and ran with it to new places that we have never seen, as every single one of his albums since Good Kid, Mad City hasn't just been fantastic and boundary pushing, but even with their heavy lyrical focus and rich conceptual depth, they have all been massive commercial successes. So when we understand this, I think on some level, it is understandable that Lupe has his problems with Kendrick, but at the end of the day, what matters most when you have an issue with somebody in hip-hop is that if you ever get called out for your hating behavior, that you are skilled enough to clap back at your opponent, and especially in this very moment in time where Kendrick came at Drake, J. Cole, and even went as far to diss a hip-hop pioneer who was hating on him in Melly Mel on his verse and like that, which I think we all forgot about. Everything we have seen recently in hip-hop has shown us that Kendrick does not seem to be afraid of anybody, as he has humiliated all of his competition so far, and now when it comes to Lupe Fiasco, when it comes to this hip-hop legend who has had building tension with Kendrick that he never knew would boil over, what is confirmed more than ever right now is that despite not having the commercial success or the influence that Kendrick Lamar does, Lupe Fiasco is one of the few rappers on the planet who can stand toe-to-toe with Kendrick in a rap beat, and he showed everyone this just right now by not directly dissing Kendrick, but just by showcasing how incredible of an MC he is with his brand new album Samurai, which on every single level of this project is on par with the type of creative energy Kendrick Lamar brings to his music. And if you're familiar with Lupe's catalog, this is absolutely no surprise because the guy's always coming up with the most insane concepts to tell stories through on his albums, and with his latest record, he's taken his own standard and raised it to the next level in such a contested moment in rap, and also in a time where lyricism seems to be back at the forefront like it hasn't been in quite some time. And this is all because of the very framework of the story he is trying to tell on this LP. Now, when it comes to the art of the concept album, this is another pillar in hip-hop that seems to be getting lost in this modern era of the genre, as it seems like so many rappers today just don't understand how to truly flesh out the musical world of a project and tell a compelling story, and I think in their own ways. While most rappers are struggling in this regard miserably, Kendrick and Lupe are the current top guys in this field, but on opposite sides of the coin, because
I gotta keep it a bean. I ain't listening to Lupe, bro. Just because the part that I just said about Kendrick can still speak for the streets. Lupe, I feel like he lost that a long time ago. Like, he can maybe speak for certain demographics in the streets, but as far as like the average black kid from inner city America, he can't speak for them. I'm just being honest. Like, I'm sorry. Like, ain't no inner city black kid checking for what Lupe Fiasco saying. But I'm being honest. Like, Not saying he can't rap, because he can lyrically get busy. He can lyrically get busy. You get what I'm saying? But as far as Kendrick responding to him, I don't think he should respond to him. Not saying that I think Kendrick would be scared. It's just like, what do he gain from it? You get what I'm saying? That's like, that would be like Rick Ross responding to the game. The game has everything to gain, but like, what does Rick Ross gain by responding to the game? Nothing. Nothing. There's nothing to gain. There's nothing to win. Nothing. You get what I'm saying? This is like a young, hungry fighter who's in their prime and they're the champion of the world, and you got another fighter who's 35-3, and he's saying like, "Yo, I want a shot at the champ." Why do you get a shot at the champ? Why? Let's finish this out.
Kendrick. The concepts he tends to wrap his albums through are always so big and relatable in scale, and this is partially what has helped him become so successful as a commercial force, but with Lupe. The concepts are generally much more linear and tailored to a specific story that only he could ever think of, and with this album right now, Lupe has once again taken things to the next level, even for his own insane standards, as through Samurai's 8 tracks, he raps from the perspective of the late Amy Winehouse as he reflects on both her struggles and musical genius, and spins this even more by interpreting her to be a battle rapper, which actually was an art that she was deeply interested in and inspired by herself. And while this concept is nowhere near as relatable as anything Kendrick has done on any of his albums, which all tap into direct emotions and experiences that most people can either relate to or understand on some fundamental level. Just this in itself showcases the unique duality between these MCs that makes the way they don't just see eye to eye so infatuating, because despite being so similar in terms of being great lyricists and conceptual masterminds, they approach designing their album experiences so differently. And while some may see this as a flaw, that the concept for this album from Lupe is so specific, and I do think that this is fair and understandable on some level, when you actually listen to the LP and see just how deep Lupe goes into everything and really becomes an entirely different person to convey a narrative, I think that you can say that without a doubt this is one of the most brilliant artistic statements that hip-hop has seen this entire year. Now, Lupe Fiasco's pen game is top class throughout this entire record, as he hits that perfect lyrical sweet spot that offers complexity to challenge the listener, but always keeps the narrative in mind and the music as vibrant and well-structured as ever. It's genuinely a marvel to hear an MC so locked in for 8 tracks and 31 minutes as they just create this ever-expansive musical world that feels so dynamic. Between Lupe's brilliant writing, which brings everything to life in such a fluent way, and his flows and vocals, which only further enhance the experience as they are always changing with each new rhyme scheme he unleashes, and musically, with production that at times can be soulful and jazzy, but at other moments can be hollow and hopeless. Lupe masterfully creates a body of work that tells the story he is trying to put across in a manner that is so well thought out and truly justifies repeat listens, and with the brilliance of this project only being comparable to few other artistic statements that have been put into the hip-hop world this year, it's clear that while on one front, Samurai is serving as the 9th album in Lupe Fiasco's catalog that is offering listeners another experience that they will never quite forget about, on the other, the lyrical mastery, sharp rhyme schemes, genius storytelling, conceptual depth, and the dynamic production are all calling out Kendrick Lamar right now and telling it that while somebody like Drake has to provoke a beef by calling you out through faint lines that are alluding to you and your essence, Lupe sends his message through his art, which is currently showing everyone that while Drake and Cole were no match for Kendrick, Lupe Fiasco has both the lyrical and artistic ability that can give Kendrick the best competition he has had yet. And while
I agree. I think Lupe versus Kendrick would be amazing. My whole thing is everybody don't get a shot at the champ, bro. Like, why does Lupe, like, who puts him in the conversation? Ain't nobody talking about him besides diehard hip hop heads, and I'm a diehard hip hop head. But also, I love listening to the streets. I love listening to somebody I can relate to, being that little black boy with hope to make it out. You get what I'm saying? When I was just young, I want to relate to somebody. I can't relate to Lupe Fiasco. As an inner city black kid, and I'm going to say for 95% of inner city black kids, they can't relate to Lupe Fiasco. 95 of inner city black kids can relate to Kendrick Lamar. They can relate to him. They can understand what he's saying. And now if we just saying like, and that's one part of it, but the other part you might say like, well, no, it's just going to be a battle X, Y, and Z. And to that I say, why does he get a shot at him? Why would you even respond to Lupe Fiasco? The time didn't pass. I remember when it was a story of who was it? I think it was KRS-One having a big problem with Nelly when he was popping. It's like, why would you respond to him? I'm popping right now. You mad because I'm popping? You mad because the spotlight on me? That ain't my problem, bro. That's your problem. What that got to do with me? Why would I respond to you? I'm going through it with Drake. the biggest artist in the world right now. I'm going through it with J. Cole, the second biggest artist in the world, or maybe third. I'm going through it with people like that, and I got a song that's #1 on the charts with Future and Metro Boomin. What are we doing? So you can throw all your little pop shots you want, but like it just don't make sense. You get what I'm saying? It don't make sense. Let's finish this out. That's how I feel about it.
Don't think Lupe will start this feud directly, despite how he always seems to come out and diss Kendrick every now and then online and in interviews. I would not be surprised that when we get more music from Kendrick Lamar, which is definitely on the way in some shape or form, if he finally addresses Lupe after years of all of this dissing. And as a hip-hop fan, this is the beef that I would want to see most, because while it may not be as dramatic as Kendrick and Drake, it would give us perhaps the greatest lyrical battle the genre has ever seen, as we wouldn't just be watching two artists who are super popular battle it out, but we would be watching two artists who are at an equal skill level duel to figure out who is the best MC once and for all. So with all that said, let me know, do you think Lupe has what it takes to take on Kendrick in a full-on rap beef, and what do you think of his new album Samurai as a whole? Where does it rank in his catalog and in total albums this year? I know for sure it's definitely an album of the year candidate for me. I can't wait to hear what you have to say, and if you want to see how Kendrick Lamar...
I'm going to tap into that Lupe album just because I want to hear if it's like that. And as far as like just to see who's the best out of them all, I don't put Lupe in that category. I think making hits and staying consistent is a part of that category. It's not just about double entendres and triple entendres, which makes up about 60 to 70% of it, about how creative you can be and how gifted you are with your pen. But I think you got to be able to produce a hit also. I think you also got to be consistent. You get what I'm saying? And I think a part of it is staying focused on your craft and focused on building what you're doing instead of constantly being in the news for hating on the young guy or hating on your situation or just being mad about stuff instead of doing something about it. As much energy as Lupe puts into like speaking on other people or speaking out against his labels and stuff like that, bro, you could be putting that into your career. You could be putting that into your career. So I hear you, but I don't hear you. I wouldn't even respond to Lil Bro. Alright, it's your boy What's Up G. Don't forget to drop a like, comment. What y'all think? Y'all think Kendrick should respond to him? I think Kendrick gets busy on him because his beat selection is going to be 10 times better than Lupe's. Lupe would have a beat problem also. You know what it would sound like? I'm going to give you a prime example. It's going to sound like when Meek Mill went through it with Cassidy. Some might even say Cassidy got over on him. But the simple fact that Cassidy's consistent beat selection be so bad, it be so bad, and Meek Mill's beat selection is curated to what's good for the eardrums. The masses just wasn't trying to hear that. And Meek just skated out of that, and it was kind of like a waste of time for everybody. You get what I'm saying? Alright, so it's your boy What's Up Jay. Drop a comment. You think Kendrick should respond? Don't forget to like, subscribe. We're on the road to 10K. I think we almost at 2,200. So definitely drop a subscribe because you be the person that get me there. Alright, and if ain't nobody told you they love y'all today, I love y'all. I'm out. Lupe Fiasco, you need to relax, bro.